you move, you make me move, darling. Make me wanna get down and make me wanna get down. Oh, baby, the way you move, make me wanna get down with you, girl. Make me wanna get down tonight.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Urban Heat. R&B Talk on a Tuesday. My name is Steve Gooseby. Hanging out with Rich Sports. How you doing, Rich?
Good morning, Steve. Always a pleasure, man.
Always a pleasure, man. And let's just start out and talk about these damn Celtics, man. I'm so disappointed, man. Everybody's disappointed. I could have never called it, as far as them being gone in the first round, especially after being up 3-1, man.
Well, Steve, the crazy thing about this is the first time in the Boston Celtics history where they've been up 3-1 and lost a playoff series. This was a total collapse. I think it was part of the players. I put the main blame on the coaching. After being up 3-1, it seemed like there was no urgency to close out this series. I thought they just thought we're up 3-1. I remember Jaylen Brown making a quote after they went up 3-1.
Yep.
He said, we got 3 chances to win 1 game.
Right.
And I thought it was no urgency, nonchalant. I saw a lot of 3-pointers being just thrown up there.
Mm-hmm.
Guys wasn't really setting their feet.
Right.
Wasn't getting into the real shooting rhythm. I thought they were just throwing 3-pointers at the rim. And at some point they figured they were going because that's their philosophy. And Philly got stronger. Embiid started to really find his game.
And Embiid was a killer. I didn't think he would come in and, be a huge impact like that, man.
The thing is with Embiid, Steve, people don't want to accept it, but when Embiid's healthy, he's a
monster.
He's just as good as the Joker.
He's a monster.
He's probably like the top big man in the game with the Joker when he's healthy.
I mean, he can shoot from just about any spot on the floor,
And there's only a handful of players that can stop him from getting to where he want in the post.
Right.
Unfortunately, that guy for us is Al Horford, who we don't have anymore.
Right, and a very good 3-point shooter, man. I was just disappointed, man. The thing I didn't like, poor adjustments. He doesn't adjust at all, especially when it comes to playoffs. But the fact that Shireman, what happened to Shireman? He had a great season, but for some reason in the playoffs, his playing time just got reduced.
Well, that was one of the things when Derek White struggled, that you should have made an adjustment to bring someone like Shireman off the bench to get going. But what he did, basically, he shortened his rotation. He didn't play the bench that really got him through the season to win 56 games.
Right.
So now you're basically just going for short rotation. You ask your veteran players to win it for you. Once you got up 3-1, you have to play your bench. You have to get those guys involved. But then, Steve, if you think about Game 7, did you see the starting rotation of Luka Garza, Ron Harper Jr., and Baylor Shireman? He pulled the Belichick when Belichick didn't play Malcolm Butler. How do you all of a sudden in Game 7 just change your whole starting rotation for one game? It didn't make any sense at all.
It didn't make any sense, even though Tatum didn't play. But I heard Tatum practice.
Yeah, they showed clips of him practicing that day. Honestly, Steve, I think they looked at the long-term investment that, it's his other leg. We don't want to send him out there and something happen. And then everybody will be saying, why did you bring him back? Why did you play him in Game 7? Most fans probably thought he should have played.
Right.
Me personally, Steve, you shouldn't have been in the situation of a Game 7.
Right.
So me personally, I didn't care if Tatum didn't play or not, because you should have never got to a Game 7.
Right. Should have never gotten to a Game 7.
You should have closed this out in Game 5 when you was at home.
And if you look at the 3 losses, man, in a row, one game they went 6 minutes without scoring a point. And then the other game, I want to say, was 3 minutes.
Game 5, you only scored 11 points in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And you kept shooting threes. Now, Game 7, Steve, you came all the way back, 91-90. You were down.
I felt like, how, back when the Bulls was running thing and Jordan was doing this thing, even with Kobe was playing when he was with the Lakers. Kobe's the guy. If you give him the ball one-on-one, I mean, he's one of those guys. He's a threat no matter what. I felt like we was missing that. We don't have – you can easily say it's Tatum. You can easily say it's Brown. But Is it a guaranteed bucket when you give them the ball in the last minute versus what Jordan did and what Kobe did back in the day?
Well, Steve, you're probably talking about Jordan, Kobe. You're talking about
when you need points. Who do you go to, man?
I mean, you're talking about top 10 NBA players of all time. Right. That's just a different level. Now, don't get me wrong. Jaylen Brown is great. Jason Tatum is great for this generation of basketball players. But one of the things that they do that I don't like, they don't attack the basket in clutch situations.
And they dance around a lot, like you said earlier.
They settle for the three-pointers, especially Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown will get the mid-range off. I mean, he's one of the best mid-range scorers in the league.
Right.
But I think it comes back to coaching, play calling. When you're in situations, Saturday night, you're down 91-90. You come back from 18 points down.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they took 6 or 7 straight three-pointers, Steve.
Right.
And they had Philly in foul trouble. Nobody came down and tried to attack the basket. And that's the philosophy, Steve. That's the analytics that they use now.
Mm-hmm.
If you're open for the three, even if you're only a 30% shooter, shoot the three. That's the philosophy of the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Now, when they shoot the three, I'm not mad because the majority of the time they do make them. But when you're struggling to make it, there's no adjustment at that point. Stop shooting the three. Go to the hoop. Do the mid range, or just go straight to the bucket, man. So that has been their problem over the years when they're not hitting the three.
One of the things, Steve, even when you're not hitting the three, you still got to swing the ball and get the best shot available. Right. I think that's the biggest thing.
Right.
When they don't swing the ball and move the ball. Because the thing with Embiid last night against the Knicks, they lost to the Knicks by 30 points almost.
Right.
Steve, the Knicks was moving the ball. They had Embiid moving around last night. I think he had about 15 points last night.
Mm-hmm.
But move the ball. Embiid, you have to keep him moving. You just can't let him stay in the middle.
Right.
But yeah, man, unfortunately, man, the Celtics are home for this rest of the playoffs. And
very unfortunate.
Unfortunate, yeah. We won't have a deep playoff run this year.
Very unfortunate. Still can't believe it, man. I can't believe we're not playing and we got, kicked out of the first round. In the first round. And like you said, Philly was a play-in team.
Well, okay. Now this is where I'm gonna say something about Joe Mazzola and his coaching. First year he takes over, we lose to Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals, which was they were a play-in team. We lost them in 7 games. He got down 0-3. We kept blowing leads. We win the championship. Of course, we had a stacked team.
Mm-hmm.
I think most decent coaches wins that championship with the Celtics. I don't think Joe Mazzola did nothing spectacular that year because that team
just had the players.
That team
position.
Was so good.
That whole starting 5.
They were going to win that championship.
Yep.
Now, you come back last year, you blow 2 20-point leads to the Knicks in the first 2 games at home in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting threes, once again, no adjustments. This year, you lose to a play-in team again. I think you have to look at the coaching. And by the way, Steve, the Orlando Magic blew a 3-1 lead against the Detroit Pistons. They were up 24 points Friday night, missed 23 shots in a row. What did they do yesterday? They fired their coach.
Wow. And I didn't know that.
Jamal Mosley, yes, he was fired yesterday.
Wow.
So some of these owners have a very short leash for this coaching stuff right now.
Yeah. I mean, up 3-1, all you got to do is win 1 game. They couldn't swing it, man. So, I don't know. I'm done talking about the Celtics now, man. I'm still disappointed.
Yeah.
Still hurt. Let's talk about some other things that's trending. I don't know if you heard, but there's a virus out. It's called Hunter virus. There's a ship parked outside of the Cape over there in the Atlantic, and 3 people died. And they will not let anybody off the boat. It reminds me of a movie. I can't remember the movie where people couldn't get off the plane or they couldn't get off the bus or something. But
I believe it's parked off the coast of Cape Verde.
Cape Verde, that's right.
Yes, exactly.
That's right.
Yes.
It is. You're right. And they won't let anybody off the boat. So this virus comes from mice and rats' feces.
Yes.
And here's my question: how does that get on a ship?
That's a very
how do mice get on a ship?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's mainly mice because Gene Hackman's wife, I guess he was dead for a couple of weeks or whatever, but his wife actually died from that same virus, they said.
Right. I heard about that. I
And
did hear about that.
yeah, it comes from mice. Mice carry it. Usually they said in certain states where you have these mice, like from certain areas of the country. But that's really kind of disturbing when you think about a virus that mice carry.
And it's on a ship.
Yeah.
And how do they get on the ship? Number one, but two, the feces has to, from what they're describing, the way they're describing it is it sits there over time, it dries up,
Yes.
and somehow you breathe it in,
Yes, you breathe it. They say it's airborne. It's airborne.
Right.
And I'm not sure what I heard, Steve. Maybe you can confirm it.
Right.
Can it be passed on from human to human?
That's why they won't let them off the ship.
And these people, I've seen some interviews. There was a guy on there talking. He's kind of like an internet or social media influencer. He's on there, man, and he's really going off right now that he can't get off the ship. He said he feel like he's being held hostage right now.
I saw that.
That's kind of scary if you think about it. Hey, this is gonna make people think twice about getting on cruise ships.
Yeah, I mean that's just a very weird situation where again it's caused by rodents.
Well, Steve, think about it. What about eating at restaurants right now? This makes you think across the board.
There's a lot going on in this world, man.
I know.
There's so much going on in this world today. How is everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How are people doing today in this world where gas is well over $4? We still dealing with inflation at the supermarket. Inflation is everywhere.
I paid $4.25 last night, and that was cheap.
And the spot is on 138 before you get on the expressway, and they're $4 and something right now.
That's where I went. Blue Hill Express. I think I paid $4.19 last night, Steve.
Yeah.
Next door, the Gulf is $4.37. The Shell is like $4.29. I've seen. If anyone's buying gas in Roxbury and Dorchester, they got to be crazy.
Right.
Because I see right now these gas stations are charging $5. So why would you even buy gas inside the city right now?
Right. Hang on. Do me a favor, Rich.
Yes.
Can you let our guests in?
Sure.
Yeah, it's how I want to know how are people doing today. Folks, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. What's up, man? Oh yeah, we got him. Yep, we good. Thanks. All right, y'all. We live in action, man. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Do me a favor, have a seat right there, and give me a few minutes, and I'll bring you up, and we'll get into it. Yeah, I want to know how people are doing, man. With again, gas is sky high. The supermarkets. You got Spirit Airlines out of business. I'm hearing JetBlue's about to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah, you're right, Steve.
And there's other stuff going on with the airlines, so Spirit won't be the last.
So you know why Spirit went out of business, right, Steve?
Why is that?
Because of the price of fuel.
Yeah.
They were already struggling, but the price of jet fuel with what's going on over in Iran, that just put them out of business. And what's so crazy about that, I was talking to some friends. So the government basically with the war in Iran put Spirit out of business. Then Donald Trump was talking about giving them $500 million, the government taking over. So you put them out of business, then you want to come back and give them money. Sometimes if you're paying attention, most people not paying attention.
Right.
You got to really ask yourself these questions. Okay, you go out of business because you drove gas up. Now you want to give them some money to put them back in business.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. But again, the question is, how are people doing, man? Foreclosures are up since 2020.
Yes.
And I don't see any relief coming from that. I mean, just think about it. People are spending more money today, right? No one's getting a raise, and everything's just sky high, man.
By the way,
so
Steve,
you're spending more. Rent hasn't decreased. You know, if you're paying $2,500, you're
And
still paying $2,500 for a single bedroom or whatever.
Repossessions on car loans is up 30% right now.
Yep. Credit cards, man, everything. It's bad. It is bad out here right now. And I don't know. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to think about, but for the most part, I think people are just trying to keep it moving, you know, and doing everything they can to stay on top of things, man. But it's almost, when you think about it, it's almost impossible because nobody's making more money, you know, $4 a gallon for gas.
Steve, we're going to be by the end of this month, we're going to be at $5 a gallon. I mean, if you think about it, the average now is like, I think 447.
Yeah.
Nationwide average. Massachusetts is almost 440, maybe 437. So we're trending towards $5 a gallon by the end of this month.
Now, and I'm gonna say this too. People might not like what I'm about to say. You know, a lot of folks are blaming Trump. Truth be told, I think regardless of whether he was in office, whether it was Kamala, whether it was Biden, the world was headed in this direction because everything that's happening now is happening for a reason. It just doesn't happen because someone made a mistake or, too much money. In my opinion, the world is being reset right now. The financial system's being reset, which we're going to talk about a lot shortly. AI, all of the technology that's coming in place, all of this stuff is tied in. The war is tied into all of that, if you ask me. What happened with Venezuela? Again, it's just my opinion. All about the minerals and all about the stuff they need for AI and the technology, these hubs that they're building throughout the world. If you pay attention to everything that's going on, everything is tied in. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, you just gotta, and I know, you know, as people, we're not interested in politics. I know I'm not, but I can't ignore what's in front of me either. You know, what's really going, I don't believe everything I see.
Well, the thing in Iran is basically driving the whole world economy right now. If it's really, I mean, when you're talking about the oil, the grain, you need grain. All of that comes through that Hormuz Strait over there.
Right.
So it's having an impact on all these different countries. So yeah, it's definitely, everything is really connected right now.
Everything's connected. And then you think about, BRICS. When BRICS started, it was all about getting rid of the US dollar and not needing the US dollar to buy oil anymore. So if you look at, if that were to be the case and the US did nothing, if you ask me, we would be in trouble. We would be in a lot of trouble. So I think a lot that is going on, it's all tied in. And some of the things that were done recently as far as the war and what Trump's been doing, it's going to put, I know folks ain't going to want to hear this. If America is going to stay on top, now the US dollar, I don't believe is going anywhere, but it's not going to be as valuable as it once was, especially with the digital technology and all that stuff coming in.
Most definitely. And honestly, Steve, when it comes to the financial stability of the whole system, sometimes things got to be done that people are not really for, that don't look that good, but that's sometimes stuff has to be done to really keep the system stabilized,
to keep things moving. Yeah And it's all about money and power. That's the part. That's the thing, the stuff that we don't see, because when you think about it, the US, we always been one of the most powerful nations, right? You know what I mean? And again, without the US dollar being used throughout the world, where does that put us?
Most definitely. Steve, I'm gonna say one thing about this is about history. History repeats itself. You had the Great Depression, and the reason why we was able to come out of the Great Depression, most people don't realize this, is because of World War II. We started building tanks, Jeeps, Henry Ford, they got big contracts.
Yep.
And that actually pulled us out of the Great Depression. When we entered World War II, That was the beginning of the industrial age for America.
Mm-hmm.
Cars, Detroit, which was the building cars in the 50s, 60s. All of this stuff is aligned together. So what's happening right now? That's what you got. These experts, they look at this stuff, and this is the stuff that they see that will make the economy thrive going forward. They might do some things that we don't think that's right, but that's just the way the world is. That's the way the world goes.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the financial stuff, because again, there's a lot going on, man. There's so much going on. It's just ridiculous the way the world is right now. I want to talk about the food again, because the food is terrible, and it's so in our faces. There's still so many people not paying attention, but yet cancer. I wonder at what rate is cancer up today. It's got to be up like 150% or something like that compared to over the years. It has to be. It has to be. And if you just look at all the people that we've known that have passed away, last week, the week before, the past month, it seems like every week is somebody going to a funeral.
Well, Steve, the reason why the food is so bad for us, because it's about profit. Once again, we always come back to finances.
Yep.
We get sick, we eat bad food. The food is so processed, but they were using cheaper materials. It's about the margin of profit. And then, like we've said on previous shows, you go to the hospital. I did a little reading about chemotherapy. You know how much chemo costs when someone gets sick?
Is it about $4,000 or $6,000, something like that? So from what I hear,
per treatment,
right?
And everybody makes money.
So the doctor charges, and I read this somewhere. The doctor charges, I want to say $4,000 or $6,000, but he charges.
That's just one treatment.
He buys it for $4,000 to $6,000.
Yes,
but he sells it for $12,000.
Yes, exactly.
He pays off.
Well, he buys it wholesale.
Right. But he walks away with about $4,000.
Yeah, he buys
out of that money.
Yeah.
And it only works about 3% of the time.
Well, that's why they push.
And we talked about that before.
As soon as you have cancer, they recommend chemo. I've known people that have refused chemo and they came out better.
I definitely wouldn't do chemo today. What I've been reading and know about it today, I'll never do chemo.
Well,
I'll never do chemo.
It's nothing but radiation, really.
To be honest, I might go to Australia, Germany, any of those places, because a lot of those places have cures and better treatment where people aren't dying for cancer.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff you can do here with herbs. I've learned a lot about that, and I'll tell you a quick story, right? And then we're going to get into it. I'm not even going to say no names. There's this person I know who is sick with cancer. And I recommended something for this person, right? And I guess when you're sick with cancer, after a while, because it's a battle, we don't know if you don't have it, if you've never been there. I can't say I understand what anybody's going through, right? But it's definitely a battle. But I feel like it does changes your mindset. It changes your attitude. You might be mad at the world. You know what I mean? I just got a lot of a negative pushback on it, and it was to the point where I feel that if I had cancer, I would look at any and all options, because a lot of these options make a lot of sense, right? Because they say the way to kill cancer is you got to starve it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You got to starve it.
Yes.
And treat it with the natural herbs or the stuff from the ground. You know what I mean?
And stop eating a lot of the processed foods that
right.
got you there.
Yep. Stop eating the things that feed cancer, like the sugar, a lot of sugars. And folks really I'm telling you now, when you go shopping for food, you got to pay attention to what you're buying, because eating the same stuff over time that has the cancer ingredients in it, you're gonna get cancer. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. You keep eating the same stuff that has those ingredients in it, you are gonna catch cancer. It might be 3-4 years, it might be 10 years from now, but you're gonna get it. And they used to tell us it was hereditary. I don't believe it is. I believe it comes from the stuff people eat in the surroundings. You got bathroom products, right? You clean your bathroom with. We breathe it in all the time. You can get cancer from that. You get cancer from the food. And I'm just realizing you can also get it from clothing. a lot of women buy clothes from Fashion Nova, Shein, all these different places. If you pay close attention to your order on the bottom of this, I'm not sure where at what point in you buying that product where it shows, but it says, because they have to list whether there's materials in there that causes cancer. And that's on a lot of women clothing that they buy, that most of our people buy.
Well, the thing is, Steve, a lot of the stuff comes from China, and China has no type of regulations, and China is a dumping ground for everybody. Ship stuff over to China, and they just take stuff and they recycle it, and they make clothing out of it.
Right.
I've heard that don't ever eat rice from China, because they actually mix plastic particles into rice.
I've heard that a long time ago, but I didn't even hear it was necessarily from China. I heard it was here in the U.S.
Yeah, so they recycle a lot of stuff and they send it back to the U.S. That's why countries like the U.S. just dump stuff over to China. It gets recycled and sent back here.
And if you're eating rice that has plastic in it over time, what do you think that's going to do to you?
Yeah, because your system's not digesting it.
Right. So listen, man, I'm not perfect. You know, I've eaten a lot of bad food for a long time, but I do any and everything in my power today to not eat that same stuff, man. My diet is different today than it was yesterday. You know, I really cut down. I never ate a lot of meat anyways. Now I barely eat meat. You know?
Well, you don't know where it's coming from. That's the main thing. You don't know the whole supply chain of the meat that you're getting, you know?
Right.
And are these places throwing any bad meat away anymore? I've seen so many documentaries, especially in the South, like Food Lion, those big stores down there. Man, they were washing the meat in bleach just to kill a scent and repackaging it.
Well, that's what they do with the chickens.
Yeah.
They bleach a lot of the chickens. And we talked about this several times, Rich. How come there's not a chicken shortage or ever been a chicken shortage with all the chickens that we eat?
I know.
We eat chicken all the time.
I know.
The Celtics game, the barbecue, the family reunion.
Where's Chick-fil-A getting all that chicken from?
Right, man. We eat a lot of damn chicken. You ever think about that? Like, think about that. How much chicken we eat as people, period. I don't care what event you go to, they got chicken. You got chicken for lunch. You got chicken for dinner. You got chicken and waffles, man.
I know. Well, Steve, if you're shooting those chickens up with the growth hormones, making them grow really fast, so you're gonna have you're gonna have a supply chain.
Yeah. So,
you're right about that.
So yeah, man, we can go on and on about that, man. Again, all that on top of everything else that's going on in the world, man. We got some problems, man. Yeah, we got some problems, man. Listen. Yeah. We'll talk about it some more, man. I'm gonna bring up my special guest. As a matter of fact, if you want to grab some headphones, you don't have to. Grab any of those and get a mic cover too. If you look down there on the bottom, you want to grab one of those. We'll bring you up in a sec. Our special guest, Jay Aziz, crypto investor, man. You know, we talked about crypto here on this radio station for the past few years, and it's always good.
Yeah. Steve, he can plug it right in here, right?
Yep, he can plug it in there. Yep. It's always good to bring in other people, man, just to get other opinions, man, because I talk a lot about it, man, and I'm pretty sure people are like, Goose, he's still talking about crypto, man. Yeah, the crypto market's down. Yeah, the crypto market, this, that. So when it's always a pleasure when I can have a conversation with someone else who's also in the crypto field. And give it up for my guy, Jay Aziz, y'all. Make some noise.
Peace.
Clap. Yes, welcome, my brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed.
Yes, indeed.
How you doing? How the both of you doing, actually?
All right, brother. Good to meet you, man.
Yes,
Good
sir.
to meet you, too.
Yes, sir. So thanks for coming in and joining us, man. And
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate
how long you been doing the crypto thing?
Man, definitely been learning about it, studying it, involved with it since around.
Talking to the mic too. Make sure.
Sorry about that.
That's all good.
Since around, let's say 2019, 2020.
Okay. Cool. You've had success in it.
Ups and downs. It's just how markets go. With the stock markets, crypto markets, is just what it is. I'll be honest, my first time in it, not fully understanding it, just jumping in it from my brother enlightening me like, yo, something to get into, quick money, not fully really understanding the technology behind it. I got washed. I was, you know how it is.
How much you get washed for?
Wasn't nothing crazy. But it was just still in that situation, circumstances. It was probably, I think at that time was like, 15 to 2,500, something like that at that time. Like back in the bull market in 2020, not really understanding the market cycles and how it moves.
Exactly.
And then
glad you mentioned
also putting money in speculative assets. But at that time, it was like there wasn't really speculation because the technology behind it was great. Should have focused more on Ethereum, but it's like, a little bit of Ethereum. Ethereum Classic at the time and Dogecoin. And, that's the meme coin. Really, at that time, no utility to it. It was just basically what they mean by meme coins, community-based coin, which, people invest in just for the community support, and some people hold on to, some people don't, but you have to be careful with that.
Right.
Because a lot of times when you invest in coins like that, they just meme coins, no utility to it.
Right.
Any given time, somebody dump on you, and that's where people start to feel some way about the crypto market, start calling it scams. And so that's what I always tell people: it's very important to do your own research. Don't listen to what somebody on YouTube says. Don't listen to what somebody on X says. Whatever it is, get into it yourself. Learn about it. Use it. Learn how to use the technology and see what works for you.
Right.
And go with that. Then also, what I learned.
Well, let me ask you too, because I've never been big on meme coins either. I think when regulations is fully in place, I believe a lot of them going to disappear. A lot of these cryptos going to fall off the map.
Oh, that's a definite.
Because especially in the U.S., because they're not going to be able to comply with the regulations. Talk to me about utility.
Utility is very important. Let's say for instance, what a lot of people don't realize is, like you were saying earlier, there's a major reset coming. The whole financial system is literally switching, going to the blockchain. And so a lot of people don't realize the difference that's going to make. So when we're dealing with settlement time, transfer of money, sometimes you have to wait for the bank to transfer your money 3 to 5 days. If it's going overseas, sometimes up to 2 weeks, and you're getting smacked with a lot of fees.
4%.
So
right.
That becomes a lot over time. And so let's say, for instance, like cryptos like XRP, which is mainly about settlement and the transfer of money, you're paying literally fractions of a penny just to transfer money. So if I wanted to send $1,000 to somewhere in Africa, Costa Rica, or wherever it is, it's just costing me a fraction of a penny and gets there within 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's 5 seconds. Or a few minutes, worst case scenario.
Exactly. All like you said, sometimes if you utilize Bitcoin for the transfer, it takes a while to take up the hours, sometimes days, depending on how much people use the network at the time. Ethereum take up the hours also. But usually the quicker ones,
very slow.
Very slow. Exactly. But usually with the quicker ones, like SUI, XRP, it's usually within seconds.
Right.
Then not only that, it's the strategies behind the utility of those, where you could utilize things such as lending pools. You can utilize things such as what they call strategies and other things, farming pools and stuff like that, to actually gain money on your money. So it's like you're literally, instead of in a bank, let your money sit in the bank for a little while. Let's say you got $100,000 in the bank, right? What you gonna get on that by the end of the year?
You'll be lucky. Much. You'll be lucky if you get honestly,
0.00.
sitting in a bank, 100,000. You'll be lucky if you get $400 or $500.
You won't even get
that. You won't get
that. Yeah.
And so now we're dealing with crypto. Whether, let's say, you're doing it dollar for dollar, which is stable coins, which a lot of people don't understand what stable coins are and don't separate that from the actual crypto assets themselves, digital assets themselves that fluctuate, go up and down. Stable coins is your dollar for dollar, backed by your dollar. And so if you put 100,000 in it, it's going to be 100,000.
Right.
Whereas in comparison to Bitcoin, if you put 100,000 in it, when the market dips, that 100,000 could turn to 80,000, 70,000, and then when it goes back up, it could also turn to 150,000. 160,000, but that is, the chance you're taking within that. But with stable coins, it's what it is. You put it in.
If anything, you lose a couple of pennies, maybe a penny here and there
for transaction fees and stuff like that.
Right, but at the end of the day, that's a safe place to put your money. Especially if you're taking
profits to grow.
If you're taking profits, I would say put your money there.
Stable.
Exactly. Right. So if you're gonna lose, you might lose a few pennies or whatever. Who's mad at that? a few pennies on 100,000 or whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
So opposed to like you put it in a bank, let it sit there making nothing. But now, sorry about that. The other thing is, let's say you put it in a protocol or strategy where you can get anywhere from like on your stables, let's say, depending on what network you're utilizing for it, anywhere from like 5 to 15% of that. So let's just say with the even mark, I would say 10%, right? On 100,000 by the end of the year, you get 10,000. Now, if you're dealing with a protocol that compounds that turns into more than 10,000. You know what I mean? And so that's definitely major and it's very important. A lot of people don't realize that, and a lot of people don't understand why. Well, for those that know, a lot of people don't even know this about the Clarity Act that's supposed to get passed soon. That gives the regulations, clear cut regulation for the crypto market. People don't understand why the banks are actually fighting that, because people don't understand that crypto is backed dollar for dollar. Whatever you put in, whatever you get out within the stable coins, right? When you lend stable coins, it's the same thing, backed dollar for dollar. Now, but when you deal with a bank, let's say, for example, when they lend money, they give out loans and stuff, it's not dollar for dollar.
Right.
They're giving you money that's technically not there. So it's fractional lending. And so basically, say you put 10,000 in and somebody go for 10,000 loan, they might loan that's 10,000 out 8 different times.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a problem.
At a high interest rate.
That's what they're cracking people. And they're making money off money that really is not there. And so
what's crazy, and I look at it this way. You put $10,000 in the bank, what are they gonna do to it with the money? They lend it out.
Exactly.
You go get a loan, and they're pretty much lending you your own money.
Exactly.
And charging you a high interest rate for your own money.
And you're not getting paid nothing for them doing that. Exactly.
Yeah, I was told once banks are loaning out money that don't even exist.
That's true. That's
I learned that a few years ago, like a promissory note. That when they loan out 10,000 to 100 different people, they just gave out money that really don't exist. And then when you bought whatever you bought with that money, it's like you're paying them interest back on that. Yeah, they're loaning out money that hasn't even been printed yet.
So that's how they're generating and creating money. That's how they're getting income in. And that's why they've been strongly opposing the Clarity Act. And so there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes because their main thing is right now that they actually all the hurdle is they wanted to prevent people from getting
equity off their money.
Exactly. Right. Just sitting there. So
they really don't want. And right now, it sounds like they're winning that battle.
Oh, yes, they won that, but to an extent, which is like you can't just sit there and get it. You have to put in something like strategies, protocols that, let's say, like your money is here, like what they call like liquid pools or illiquid pools, where like staking pools and stuff like that. We can lock your money in there.
Right.
They'll borrow it, use it for the protocol.
Right. I'll say this.
For that.
I'll say this, man. I mean, outside of the United States, you can almost do better. You can do well. I don't know what the act exactly is going to be in the Clarity Act, but I know for a fact it sounds like what's going to happen is you might be able to do a lot better outside the country with your crypto. So maybe having a residence somewhere else. You know what I mean?
It's a mixture. It also depends on where you go. So it's like they say, it's like saying China. Like you want to do a crypto moves, you don't want to be in China. You know what I mean? So you'll be worse off there. But in the United States, a lot of people don't realize like what was open with the Genius Act. And when you go read the text of the Genius Act, a lot of things that opens the doors for. So let's say, for instance, it's like you got that's the other thing too. You have better chances with fair loan practices too with crypto, but it's like you have to actually have money there. And so going back to the Genius Act for that. So let's say you have once again 100,000 in crypto, you can actually lend up to 80% of that. You know what I mean? But you have to be careful with that. You want to make sure you utilize the stable coins because you get liquidated and lose your assets. Right. If you're using something like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or something like that, because if it drops below that 8% threshold, you don't have enough to cover that, or you're not putting extra money down to cover that margin, they can liquidate and take the assets to cover that loan.
But here's the thing, too, that people have to understand. Now, getting in the crypto game, you got to be, first of all, like he mentioned earlier, you got to educate yourself, do your own research. I always tell people you have to understand what the crypto cycle is, and you got to be patient. If you look at, we're in the month of May now. So the last 5 months, if you were to look at the numbers aren't good because the numbers are down. But prior to that, if you own crypto in the last 12 months, depending on what you had, you could be up 1,000%. You know, on $100,000
Yeah.
or $10,000.
But
You know,
to make real gains, though, when is the best time to buy?
the best time is right now.
When the numbers are down,
Right,
during
when
the
the
bear
numbers down.
market.
I preach that all the time.
So what people do is like we're wired in our minds when we see red candles and the money's dropping, we don't want to touch it. We're like, oh no.
Right.
But we see the candle jump up, it's going 100, 200, 300, 400, 500%.
Oh, it's good. Get in now. Get in now.
It's too like a lot of times for the people that make the max amount of money, it's too late. And so you want to like that's when you want to invest during these times. I'm figuring usually, you know, during past bear markets, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
But there's usually one more leg to drop, which will allow Bitcoin to drop back down to around 40 or 50,000%.
Right.
Then that's the time to get in. And where I got, I didn't understand in the beginning, which back then in 2018 and 19, I'm like, oh, Bitcoin is too expensive. But then it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You know what I mean? You could literally put $10 into it and let it go. $5. So it's like whatever it do. So it's like, even when I educate family and friends on the importance of investing, everybody's like, I don't have the time for it. I don't have the money for it. But then it's like those same people are going out every weekend, going out to eat, spending $100, $200, $300 going out to eat. You know, everybody come out to eat or going to clubs. So I'm like, make that make sense. And so they.
And just to interject, we've had this conversation before, and just to piggyback off what you're saying, I know dudes that you would give them information about investing. They say, I'm not taking a chance on that. It's but a scam, but they're at the casino every weekend.
Exactly.
Table, right? The blackjack table. You're not going to come out of that casino ahead too many times, because most people, I know they get up. I've known guys have been up $80,000 at the crap table. They keep going back and you give it all back.
Exactly.
So what you're saying about telling people to invest and in the stock market, I've had this conversation with people over the years. They don't trust the stock market. I always tell them, I'm not a expert at none of this stuff. But if you look at history, the stock market what drives wealth in this country. Okay? When the COVID came, the reason why they gave everybody money, if you never worked a job and had a job, they was giving you $1,100, $1,200 a week for 2 years. The reason why, because they wasn't going to let the stock market crash. That money that everybody got from COVID was spent back into the system. They wanted to keep the economy going. Everybody's in the house, they're drinking, smoking, having a good time, eating, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and spending money, ordering from all the sites. They kept the economy going. The smart people bought stocks and invested.
Right.
I mean, this is something I learned a few years ago.
Which is true.
When the market's down, you invest.
Exactly. And the other thing with people is like people get so fixated on immediate gains. We have to get ourselves out of that.
Yes.
We have to prepare. We don't want to chase red candles. Like I see people like, I'm gonna buy now. I'm like, you're buying what stock at what time now? I'm like, it just ran up 300, 400, 500%.
Yes.
So if you do, just be patient. Wait for a pullback. Wait for it to get down some, drop back. And then it's very important to understand how to read the charts. So you know what you're looking at when you look at the Bollinger Bands, the MACD and stuff like that. Some people tell me like, oh, that's too complicated. Remember and learn. But then you ask them, you know, every word to a little baby song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
It's crazy.
And I've been saying it for the longest. And again, I learned this back in 2009, man. This is whenever the market is bad, this is the best time to buy. This is how you get rich.
Exactly.
This is how the rich get richer.
Exactly.
Because while everybody else is looking at it as, no, it's a bad time to buy this, it's a bad time to buy that. You know, there are people who aren't spending their money on certain things. Instead, they're investing into the markets.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you right now, the technology, anything surrounded by AI needs a lot of energy. So if you invest in that, there are a lot of things that are surrounded with that if you invest into it, you are going to be good in the next couple of years, because they've been saying it's the greatest transferring of wealth for a reason. Because it really is, because you've never had the amount of money poured into the market ever in the entire in the world. You've never had trillions of dollars come into the market at one time. That's never ever happened. So that money's going somewhere. And there's an opportunity for people to get a piece of that, but they're not going to tell you. You know what I mean? And you might hear someone say, well, they're not going to let everybody get rich, but guess what? They don't have to, because there's still only a small percentage of us invested into it anyway.
Exactly.
So they're doing their job by keeping certain people where they, they know they're not going to invest.
Well, you think about it, a guy like Elon Musk, probably Jeff Bezos, these guys are on their way to becoming trillionaires.
Yeah, they're going to be the
So that tells you how much money is in the market, and $1 million ain't even that big a deal anymore.
Listen, 100,000 ain't nothing no more. Yeah. You make 100,000 a year, that ain't nothing.
Yeah,
but in the 90s, 100,000 in the 90s, that was
big money.
I mean, you go out and scratch a ticket and win $1 million, you end up with 500,000 after you taxes 670.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be comfortable if you make the right moves. But I've known
if you invest, you'll be very comfortable.
Listen, I've known people who've hit those scratch tickets and won $1 million, and they're broke right now.
Yep.
So that lets you know where we're trending at in the financial world when guys are going to be trillionaires. I mean, when we were young, that number was unheard of.
Right.
Now you're going to have people that's worth that much money.
Billionaires are going to become trillionaires. You got millionaires who are going to become billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so on. I mean, again, man, now is the time. The rich is getting richer. And there's a lot of folks who are invested into it. There's a good amount of people, they put all their money into it, man.
Think about it. You have a situation, we were saying earlier, that the entire financial system is going to move to blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to give you 24 access. Like right now, the stock market is from 9:30 to 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's going to open up the doors to have, they're trying to push for 24/7 or at least 24/5. So you have round the clock access to the stock market.
Yep.
So New York Exchange,
and they have to do that because the blockchain is 24
exactly.
hours. And they're on the blockchain. And believe me, the banks are there already.
Oh, that's
they just waiting for that clarity.
That's it.
When they get the clarity, it'll be a matter of a week or a couple of days.
The New York Stock Exchange is pushed to have everything tokenized.
Right.
So if you're in the right assets, so let's say you have some Ethereum, some Solana, XRP, HBAR, a few things like that, Canton Network, things like that, which they were going to be utilizing for things like that. Think about how much it's going to run up to. The crypto market right now is just over $2 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be more than 100 trillion making it onto the blockchain eventually. So if you get into it now early in the right assets, do your own research, you have a lot of money to make in the long run, the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
You got a lot of AI tokens that are going to do very well.
Yes.
And understand that if you do own crypto, Trump has already got in I don't know if it's in law yet, but it's in one of those bills where any of those companies that are here in the U.S., no capital gains tax. No capital gains.
Yeah, I know he's definitely trying to push for that.
Right.
I don't know if that got pushed yet. I'm hoping that goes through.
Right. And it'll go through because he's a big holder, so he's going to make sure he don't pay that kind of tax.
Exactly.
So if you make $1 million, it's yours. If you make 10, 20, 30 million, it's all yours as long as those companies that you invested in are in the U.S. And a lot of them are.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing a lot of people don't realize is DTCC. That's a derivatives market.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Depository Trust and Clearance Corporation. That's a lot of money. Last year, that just pushed through annually, $4 quadrillion? Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That went through. That covers everything from options and everything else on the back end of the stock market. That's a lot of money. And they're pushing for tokenization.
Yeah.
Think about how much money about to touch that market.
We got to get our minds in the right places.
Well, one thing, guys, I want to say, I think what have made people kind of skeptical about the crypto. Remember the big thing with the kid that went to jail, and he had the athletes, Dave Tom Brady. So you got to remember, regardless how much you guys spread this to family members and friends and tell them, they won't take the time to do the research. But when they hear that quick flashpoint, this kid went to jail. He was running a Ponzi scheme with the crypto. Tom Brady, David Ortiz, Peyton Manning, all of them was attached to that. They were only going to look at that. I've had friends of mine tell me that crypto is a scam many times.
But you know what's crazy? Tom Brady didn't know a lot about crypto at the time, and Steph Curry, all those guys that gave him the money just like that, didn't understand how to even secure crypto on their own.
Yeah.
So they left it to the guy. Most of them got their money back.
And he was a brilliant kid. I heard his family, his mother and father talking. I mean, of course, they're going to still defend him. You know, he's in jail right now. He's in there for a long time.
I don't even know the details.
I don't even think I don't even think he should be doing as much time as they gave him. It's a financial thing. It's not a violent thing. He didn't kill anybody.
You know what, though? He could have been set up, too, man. It wouldn't even surprise me, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into that, but I've been looking into that. So there's a lot behind that, but there was other companies that pretty much had their hands that pushing him to the forefront because he was technically doing things he shouldn't have been doing also.
Yes.
What was Sam Bankman-Fried or something like that?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot going on with that behind the scenes, still pushing, not having the actual funding and backing for that. And that was actually with the last cycle, how Solana ran up from was like $2 to $230
or something like that.
$250. But because Solana was a big part of what they had within the inventory, that took a major hit at the end of the cycle when from $230 to $250 dropped down to around $8. A lot of people like Solana's dead, it's never going to come back. What happened? Everybody bought Solana at that time at $8, caked, because it ran back up to $290 recently. But now we did back down to around $80.
Right.
And so it's just like, this is a small market, you know, so it's going to have the major volatility. But for those that understand money, the volatility is a blessing. When you have patience, you understand the money, you understand the volatility, you use that to your benefit. Yep. And the major thing that a lot of people not realizing right now is the other situation that Trump passed and pushed down was allowing it so you could actually borrow against your crypto, which right now like Bitcoin and stuff like that. And that's major. You use that as collateral. And so it's like you don't have to sell it no more. So think about how much more people, instead of selling it to take profit, they're gonna actually hold it. Which means, you know, they're gonna hold on for dear life, just to hold it and to make sure that was like, cool, I don't need to sell it. I can just use it to back it because it's going to continue to appreciate.
Well, one of the amazing things I pay attention to, Donald Trump, Jamie Dimon, people at Fidelity, all these people was against crypto when it first came out.
And they were never against it.
Yeah,
they said they
want to keep the prices down.
Yeah,
right.
Even people like Elizabeth Warren, it was Republicans and Democrats. They said, don't touch crypto. Don't you do anything with crypto. And this kid that went to jail,
Democrats was definitely.
He actually went to jail before all the big dogs got involved in crypto. Now, all of them are coming to the table. Donald Trump, Fidelity sells crypto on their platform.
But you got to understand why.
I think because he was blowing up and he was so big. He had all these celebrities, and I personally think he was taken down because he was a smart kid. The kid was only in his early 30s, I believe.
Yeah. So, and this is why I wouldn't be surprised if he was set up because, again, the Democrats were totally against the blockchain.
Yeah.
And they wanted control over it for one reason only, right? Because if you own it and of all the people in the state of Massachusetts own crypto, guess what would happen?
No need for banks.
There's no need for banks.
No need for banks.
And the banks don't get to make that 25% on the credit cards, the car loans, and all that stuff that they charge. They don't get paid off of us no more.
No,
so that's why they were against crypto. And you got to understand, the financial system is what runs this country.
Yeah, the credit. Everything runs off the credit.
Right.
Now, the other thing is, too, is now they got the regulations. Now the banks can legitimately partake in crypto. Now what are they doing? They're pushing crypto now.
Yeah,
and they're waiting for the Clarity Act. They're just going back and forth, but they want to make sure they benefit and pretty much stop the competition. That's what it seems like.
That's what it is.
So it's just like they want to monopolize off crypto while Xing out the little guys. But what a lot of people miss, though, too, which was brilliant. You know, you have people like Brian Armstrong, one of the founders of Coinbase, Brad House from Ripple, which is, you know, SRP attached. They were like, okay, we got this money here. And so we're going to do like the other individuals do, these oil tycoons and all that. We're going to stop paying these campaigns, supporting these individuals who support our agenda. We're going to go off.
Right.
Anybody against crypto, we're going to get them out of there.
Right.
And that was huge when it came to last presidential election along with a couple others. So it's like they made a smart move. They knew what they had to do to play. Like, okay, cool. We're gonna make sure we get this pass and push this through.
Yeah. But just going back to what you said earlier, Rich, Jamie Dimon and the guy from BlackRock, I forget his name, but
Larry Fink.
Larry Fink. They all said that they were against crypto and that it was used for money laundering and drug deals and all this other stuff.
Like dollars, no.
Well, both of them are the biggest, right? And they're the biggest holders of crypto right now today.
What?
They're the biggest holders.
Bitcoin, Ethereum.
So they lied to you so that you wouldn't buy it, only so they could sell it to you later and charge you
at a higher price.
At a higher price,
Oh man, it's a game, but it's like that's why I try to tell people it's very important. Don't listen to what you see in the media. Do your own research. The media is always going to push that FUD out to you, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, to discourage you from getting it. And then when they want to hype it and sell it to you and have everybody rushing at the end, and so you can sell it to you for a higher price and pretty much the time dump on you.
Yeah.
And then that's what happens. They'll hype it up, put it on, and be this the greatest thing ever. It's going to keep going up. It's never going to stop.
Right.
That's when they sell out. When everybody starts buying it, that's somebody sell it too.
I just wish people would really pay close attention to what's going on and do the research.
Exactly.
Because, once upon a time, I believed we landed on the moon. I believed a lot of the things that I saw on TV. I was that guy. And I don't know where things changed or at what point, but I just realized that people in position, they ain't no better than some of the crooks out on the street.
A lot of times they're worse.
They're just crooks with suits. A lot of them are crooks with suits on, And I hope this won't get me in trouble. But hey, it is what it is. Look at the medical system. The medical system, we could get into that, but that's a scam too. You pay all this money for insurance. You go to the doctor, you still got to copay, right? Then you got to pay for the medicine. By the time you get done, you're out. How much money?
No, that's true.
Think about that, man. Now, what if everybody just decided, you know what, I ain't paying for medical insurance no more. Forget that. I'm gonna take my chances with the herbs. What do you think will happen to the medical system?
The price of medical care will go down because it's such a big business.
Right.
Pharmaceutical companies, all that. It's all big business.
Right.
But think about how they strategically start putting penalties in place. And so what happens now if you don't have Massachusetts, if you don't have insurance?
Yeah, and I can see them doing that too.
That was strategic. You feel what I'm saying?
I can see them doing that. And I'm hearing they're gonna start putting all 2020. I gotta do the research, make sure confirm this, verify this. I hear they're gonna start putting kill switches in all 2027 vehicles.
Oh, that I was reading about that. That is crazy.
And why is that?
They say to prevent drunk driving or being impaired at the wheel, being on your phone. That's what they say.
But the sad part is, so how many people are going to actually end up losing their life because of that? Who needs to rush out of incident because it's an emergency? Or your eyes are too wide. Yeah, my eyes are wide. I'm trying to rush to save my brother, my sister, my friend, whatever it is, who's probably having a medical emergency. I'm panicking or whatever it is. And so you just never know. Or even a situation where, let's say, like, a woman's at a bar somewhere and something happens, she's trying to leave it happen, somebody roof her or something, she's trying to get away, or maybe you just never know. And they're in that situation, they need immediate escape or something like that.
What would they tie that to, like some type of AI camera in the car or something? Maybe?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. The technology, man, listen.
Technology.
Well, they already got the breathalyzer thing. People who caught many times with drunk driving,
right?
They attach that to your automobile, and you have to actually blow in that before you start your car.
Right. Yeah, man.
It's like for your car just to come with that, that's a different situation.
Oh,
it's
no,
like,
yeah.
Individual, you violated the law. You usually got caught for drunk driving. They have to put that in for that. But for the car to come standing with that,
I think that's going to be a fight. I think people will fight that based on your rights to have invasion of privacy.
Mm-hmm. Actually, a major movement right now where a lot of people are just trying to purchase older vehicles instead of dealing with that. But then you know what's going to come with that? I think it was like a city in China where it was like. The China, Japan, I can't know exactly where, but it was like you can't have vehicles older than so much amount of time where
Well, what happened? If people stop buying older vehicles to avoid that, then the price of those will go up. There's always going to be something.
That too, but also they'll hit you with the taxes again. Like
Yeah.
Guess what else? All they're gonna do is stop selling the parts for the older vehicles. Then you got to buy the new vehicle.
Yeah.
Now listen,
There's numerous different strategies.
that fact about older vehicles, I went through that process of them basically trying to take my car off the road because my computer wasn't reading the codes for my check engine light to go off. I had to go to the registry and actually get a waiver through the registry because they didn't make the computer for my car anymore. But my car still runs fine. But because it's older than 10 years, Ford didn't make the PCM program for my car that's right under the hood. And at one point, it was like, well, you probably have to get rid of it. No, I didn't know, but you can go to the registry, get a waiver, show that you did everything possible, and they don't make the part anymore, and the registry waived me. So, yeah, they could push that and take the older cars off the road.
Yeah.
That's a true fact. They will push that.
Wow.
So everybody has to be ready one way or another. They're going to try to push their agenda. They have an agenda they push.
Yeah.
They definitely getting it done.
Yeah.
On all levels. And so it's just about being ready, preparing yourself, and trying to be ahead of it, especially when it comes to investment.
Do you think the paper dollar will still be something that we use? How does this all affect with the crypto and the digital currency?
How I'm reading, they're already trying to have talks of doing away with it. I don't know if you know, I'm pretty sure you know, certain places you go to now, like what's a little coffee shop or cafe.
Everything's Apple Pay and everything.
They won't even take dollars.
You're
try
right.
to tip somebody like, now we don't take tips.
Yeah, everything's Apple Pay. I mean, if you be honest with you go places like in the South End, Back Bay area, everybody's pulling out their phone. Apple Pay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
love
over
technology.
Back Bay.
I do it all the time, man. I'm definitely an Apple Pay person.
Yeah. Because a lot of people just don't carry cash anymore.
But it's like, for me, from the actual dollar, so it's going to be a form. It's just going to be a digital dollar. It may not have the paper dollar, but they're going to have a digital equivalent to that.
Yeah.
And so you have USDT, which is USD Tether, USDC, a few other people use it. And that's the other thing the public has to know about. Be careful with the digital dollars too. Make sure you're using a reputable one. Don't just grab any digital dollar because you've seen a protocol about, for this specific digital dollar, some that nobody ever heard of, you'll get like 40-50%. They might not have what they need to have back because in the Genius Act, it's backed by, it has to be backed by Treasury bonds, gold, and things of that nature come back about. It has to be some type of substance to back that digital dollar if you're purchasing it. And so a lot of people don't realize that there is also other digital dollars that are like out there, but I stay away from those. It's just USDC if you want to use it for payments, whatever it is. USDT, things like that. And also definitely do your research on the utility crypto. There's a lot of them out there. Look for the ones look at it from the perspective like this. Anybody that you would like to invest in a business, what would you like to see your business do? Continue to grow, continue to evolve, and get the correct acquisition. All partnerships to ensure the success of the business, right? Same thing applies to crypto. Same thing. And so it's like when you're dealing with things like
learn it now or learn it later.
Don't be.
But either way, you're gonna learn it.
Now, when a new crypto comes out, the person that actually puts it out there, do they stand to make the most profit when it first hits the market?
Well, it's a combination. Sometimes, because they have a lot of times they have a lot of their own coins. Okay. They have their own
they call it mining?
No, not that's different. Yeah, somebody else with Bitcoin stuff like that. Yeah. They have their own cash, their own bunch of coins. They have cash away and locked up. And so a lot of times, yes. But what you want to do is right now, research. The most important thing is research. Because let's say, for instance, like Sui. The team from Sui, where they come from? They came from Facebook. When Facebook was originally going to create Libra, their own crypto and stuff like that. But with the Biden administration, or Gary Gensler, they were fighting and trying to stop crypto. And so because of that, Facebook was like, nah, we're not doing no more. The Sui team,
I didn't know that about Sui.
Oh, yeah. Team left. Was like, cool. So when the team from Libra left, they split into two. One team went and created Sui, and the other team went and created Aptos, I think, if my memory serves me correctly. And Sui, man, they focused on the agentic side of it, and they're doing great work. They got they created a move
Sui's
language.
the cryptocurrency.
They're doing great
Yeah.
acquisitions and everything.
Yeah, you definitely got to do your research on the new cryptos. For example, Rick Ross came out with a coin. I don't even know if he still has it, but
Yeah,
I did my research on it. Because he had it on social media, and I even commented on it, man. I looked up the what was it? I looked and see how much money he had behind it, right? And he didn't have enough money to pay. So if I would have invested in the coin group, how was he going to pay?
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
He didn't have enough liquidity. You know what I mean?
People put their own money behind it. That's the question.
And that's what he did. So what he was trying to do, because he's Rick Ross, he was just, they're going to buy my coin. I'm Rick Ross, And I said, let me just see what's he doing here, man. And I looked it up, man, and I was like, man, if I invest in this coin, he ain't got enough money to pay me.
Exactly.
Put it on the profit.
So he was betting on the futures market.
He was betting on what they call what do they call it?
Rug pull.
When you come in and get out.
Rug pull.
Rug pull, yeah. Rug pull.
Trying to have a whole bunch of people put the money in, and look what Kanye's going.
Right.
Now, is that legal?
Yeah, there's no regulations on it yet.
It's not yet, but that's going to come to a stop.
Yeah. The regulations is coming.
So, Steve, basically, if the coin had blew up, he didn't have enough money to pay you.
He didn't have enough liquidity. There was no liquidity.
Wow.
He had very little liquidity in the company.
Now, it's good that we're having this conversation because I don't know a whole lot about crypto, Steve. I learned from you.
Right.
And I'm learning from this gentleman here, the things that he's saying. So, this is amazing so that we're having this conversation just to, people that's listening, just to know this is how this stuff works. And every entertainer, athlete, everybody's trying to get into it because they see how much money is being made.
I mean, listen, if you still, first of all, do the research, but if you still don't believe, you're going to be late because Fidelity, Bank of America, the world is already, right, BlackRock, Wall Street's already on the blockchain. You're just not hearing these things officially because that, like you mentioned earlier, that Clarity Act has not passed the Senate yet. It's going to happen. It's going to pass. And when it does, it's probably going to be days or maybe a week. They're already ready to start pushing what they're trying to sell to the public.
Think about what you were saying earlier about the oil, how the petrodollar. That was how
I was going to ask you about the petrodollar.
That was
me and Steve's been talking about that.
Yes,
I don't even think a lot of people realize what's going on with the petrodollar.
It's being tokenized.
Exactly.
Yes.
And how a lot of that changed up. And so now, right, what they're trying to do when you have a lot of countries backing up, like I'm not supporting that. We're going to go to the yen, we're going to go to this, we're going to go to that. And so what they do, all right, cool. Y'all want to do that? They pass the Genius Act, make stablecoins. Everybody have access to the internet, phone, and the wallet. Guess who's going to have access to that? It's not just these big major countries. It's going to be these countries that have citizens with deflationary money. And so what they rather do, keep their money in a million rupees that's going to probably devalue over the next week, or put it in the United States dollar. That's going to hold their worth a lot longer.
Right.
And so you're giving the world access to that. That changes the game. And what they do, y'all don't want to back the petrodollar, which was the United States dollar backed by oil, was also backed by treasury bonds and stuff like that. Now they switched all that to the digital dollar. Has to be backed with that. So if the whole world has access to that, access to the digital dollar, what they do? Somebody's buying America's debt. They just finesse it in a whole new system. They rewrap it and send it out. A lot of people's not seeing that, not making that connection, not understanding what they're doing strategically. So you think this Clarity Act not going to pass? America's relying on this. Right. So in some way, shape, or form, whether it's going to get passed in the full bill or it's going to get passed in like a skinny bill attached to another bill.
And it's all politics, between the Democrats and the Republicans. It's nickel. They're nickel and diming, but it's millions and millions of dollars and billions. Actually, they're nickel and diming about. Especially
trillions.
Right.
Well, that's what the bank's
especially when it comes to
$6 trillion fight.
Right.
Every release a report saying that's not true because technically we have different situations. We have access to, greater rewards or interest and yield, however you want to call it, in other areas. People could do that right now. wait for treasuries to go up on stuff like that, and then put their money there instead of keeping it in the bank. But the bank just needs access. But like I tell people, you have to be careful and understand what you're dealing with. Nobody's saying for all your money in crypto, anything like that. Just be aware of it. Take time, do your research. And if you feel comfortable, allocate a little something. Go in a time like what happened in 1990, late 1990s with the dot-com boom.
That's right.
And everything's going to get weeded out sooner or later. Everybody, all these companies went up, blew up, and then they crashed, and then what was left?
Right.
Amazon, Google, and others. Yahoo's gone, AOL's gone, and all that.
The people that made the money, even like you take a Mark Cuban and those guys like that, those guys made their money, got wealthy. He bought his basketball team. Those guys made their money. They got out, and then, like you said, the late people to the game jumped in and they lost because they can't get ready.
And the bottom line, you will get into the game whether you like it or not. You're not going to have a choice. I'll tell you too. As a DJ, I used to spin the vinyl. Right, I was probably one of the last DJs to go to MP3s and to go to the CDs, man, because I was so accustomed to the vinyl. But I had to, because they stopped printing vinyl, right? So how else was I going to get my music?
Yeah, exactly.
I had to switch over, man. It took me, and one of the reasons why I went to switch over, I was in love with the 1200. Until they came up with a controller that was like 1200, I couldn't rock it. And finally, all of them like 12.
And you don't have to carry all that damn equipment around.
Oh, I love it now. I love it now.
Hey, you don't have to rent a U-Haul van no more.
I can be a one-man show, although I pay people to set up now, man. I don't do that no more, man. Hey, just meet me here. I'm bringing my controller. I see you after you set up. Boom.
Remember the big speakers back in the day?
Right.
Yeah, all that equipment around.
Right, but the point is, you may not like what's happening, but I'm telling you now, you ain't got a choice. You gonna get with the program, whether you like it or not. You gonna get with the program.
Honestly, a lot of people don't get with the program. They know they're getting with the program.
Yeah.
Because the bank rails is gonna run off of it, the financial system is gonna run off of it, and then not only that, they also already open their doors to allow your retirement to have a portion in crypto, types of other things. So it's like you're gonna have access to it. You're gonna be part of it, whether you know it or not, or whether you like it or not.
You're right. They're offering it in 401ks, and if you're buying a house, there's a section where the assets is asked you, do you own any cryptocurrency? So what does that say? You watch the Celtics game. What do you see on the basketball court? Advertisements of Coinbase.
Yeah, I mean, even like me, I turn on the television in the morning. I turn on the Bloomberg channel. You see the futures market. You see the crypto you were talking about. What is it?
XRP,
Bitcoin, right up there. I mean, if most people turn on the Bloomberg channel 45 on the Infinity, you turn that on there. You listen to them talk finance all day long. They're giving you the information. That's what these people do for a living, and everything's right there. It took me until I was like 40 years old to know what the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones was. All through the 70s, as a kid, 80s, news go off at night. You see Walter Cronkite, all those guys, the Dow Jones of the day. And I'm like, what do that mean? Finally, I probably was in my 40s. I'm like, what the hell is this Dow Jones stuff? Then I found out it was the top 500 markets on the U.S. stock exchange. Yeah, everything's tied into it. The top 500 trading market on companies, the top 500 companies. That's what drives the New York Stock Exchange. And I'm like, wow, man. And then, you open up like a Roth IRA. I started finding out about this stuff, just listening, but no one's giving you this information if you don't go seeking it either.
What's sad is we contribute to billions and billions and billions of dollars when it comes to the economy, when it comes to buying clothes, when it comes to buying sneakers, women with the hair, the pocketbooks, fashion.
Yes.
We are the biggest contributors.
We're the biggest
consumers. But yet, we don't get any money back in return for what we invested. Imagine taking that money you was buying, as a consumer, and invest it back into yourself, into the market. It's night and day. And there's so much you can do now. Making money work for you is a lot easier today than it was yesterday. everyone watching, everyone out here has that same opportunity as the guy that makes 6, 7, 8 figures a year.
Well, Steve, at one point, cell phones wouldn't even have stores in the inner city, Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. We had to go down like Boston Street somewhere to get a cell phone. Now there's a cell phone store on every corner because they found out there was a market, you know. But originally, you had to go look for a cell phone store. You had to go way across town. Then they were like, wait a minute.
We're the biggest consumers.
These people are buying cell phones at an alarming rate. We got to cater to them.
Even to the point where they started giving out cell phones.
Well, I was going to get to that point. Initially, you had to go in there with a credit card. You had to buy a phone. Now you get the phone for free, a $1,300 iPhone. Your bill is $69 a month, plus an extra $20 paying for the phone. So now you're really leasing the phone because in 2-3 years, when the new one comes out, you're going to go back and trade that one in. They're going to keep you leasing the phone and paying your bill, and you're happy with that.
And especially with the iPhones, they haven't changed in so long. They might change the design, but back before, what was the guy who before he died, every year it was something that was Steve Jobs. There was something that was revolutionary every year with the new iPhone. It's not like that no more.
I know people still have an iPhone 8. Yeah, iPhone 8 people I know that are still using them.
Nothing, maybe another camera.
Yeah.
Camera
gets better.
Yeah, but not that much better.
Yeah.
Everything's 4D, HD, so how much better can you get than that? You know?
Yeah.
But
it's like right now, it is the perfect opportunity to do your own research because I see so many people where it's like family or friends that I know, you speak to them, while you're speaking to them, they on TikTok, they on X, Instagram. Like, what are you watching? Oh, this funny video about this. Oh, this video about that. I'm like, what are you learning from that? Oh, no, I'm just chilling. And they'll spend hours on it.
But that holds their attention.
Yeah. So it's like, if you really put all that time to start looking up, investing, doing research, and AI, that's major. What you going to use Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Copilot. So yeah, different AIs for different things like Perplexity, that's good for business. Claude, that's pretty much good all around, but use it for research. Also fact check it because AI will give you some information, but learn how to use AI. Keep messing with it. Train yourself.
You said it right there.
That's major because you want to make sure you're giving it the right prompts to get the proper results back. Sometimes you ask something, it'll give you old data. So you got to make sure I need up-to-date present data for A, B, C, D, E, F, and G with this, and make sure you're thorough with your prompt and tell it to go back and research yourself. But then whatever it gives you, don't take it as value. Go back and relook at it and make sure it is what it is. You know, Gemini and all that. That is a great tool for research. Things they should take me anywhere from, let's say, like days to research. You're literally doing 30 minutes to an hour right now, utilizing AI. That's major. That's part of the research game when it comes to whether it's investing and things like that, or you want to start your own business and stuff. It's like you could literally have a place where you give it a prompt, break it down, and it'll break down your whole business plan. Or give you everything well. You need to set stocks, who owns it, who's doing what, who they're partnering with, and all that. So it's like back in the days, remember what the Sidekick 1, the Sidekick 2, the Blackberries. You know how long does it take to get online?
Yeah, I remember the Blackberries too. BlackBerry and
like 20, 30 minutes.
And the SkyTel pager.
The SkyTel pager, the SkyTel, it's like you're sitting there waiting to get online. It takes forever. Now, you got a mini computer in your hand. There's no excuse.
Right. There's no excuse, man. But again, man, what is it with our folks though, man, that in I'm not even gonna say it's our folks, man. I just think we caught up in the wrong things, man. I think social media and TV are the biggest influences of our culture, you know, and we follow a lot of those things.
But when you look it up, though, they strategically created that way for distraction. Like you were saying earlier, they want to distract you from the bigger picture. They want to distract you from financial freedom.
Yeah.
Look at social. They have like these people are geniuses. They have reports and they spend millions to billions of dollars on scientists and different individuals to study what will keep people locked in. From like, don't forget, don't forget that. Actually, also because of that, the gift matter and stuff like that.
There was just a major lawsuit about them addicting the kids to certain things. Yeah,
keeping distracted with the wrong things. So, but it's just about people understanding that and fighting and getting through that. they just locking in.
Right. Yeah, I think especially with the kids, man, you got to get them off the phones, man.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be on the phone 20 minutes before it's bedtime. They're not gonna sleep.
Mm-mm.
You know, they're not gonna sleep, man. All that, light rays, whatever they call it, man, in their eyes and in their brains, they're not sleeping good at night. And then you want to talk about the ADHD and the combination of that with the phone. It's bad. It's bad out here. But
like I grew up in comparison, like you're saying with that, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. Like, okay, we didn't have access to that, but we loved being outside. Like, when your mom was like, yo, you're grounded, that was like the end of the world. On a nice summer day, too, you got to stay in the house. That was the end of everything. Now it's like you ride around or you moving around, it's just you barely see any kids out. Like,
kids ain't out playing no more.
Even if there's a basketball game going on, I've seen kids playing in a basketball game. Their teammates out there playing, running back and up and down the court. In an organized basketball game, you got kids on the bench instead of watching the game. So when they get in, they'll see what's going on. They're on the bench on their phone.
Which is crazy.
What's up with the coach when it comes to that? Come on,
Coach. That's definitely.
I went to a Red Sox game and a Celtics game, and young kids are at the game. Parents paid all this money for tickets. They're on the phone. I'm like, why you brought this kid to the game?
Yeah, that's a lot. I love sports. I'll be locked in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what in your opinion, for the newbies out there looking to get into crypto and they want to buy some crypto, what do you suggest? Give me your top 5 coins.
My top 5 coins. Well, people, it's pretty much this is why I tell people. Utilize the free assets you have out there. You have DeFi Llama, CoinGecko, and a whole bunch of other. You can literally look up online because blockchain information is free. Mm-hmm. You have these websites that'll give you all the information right there. And so you can literally pick certain ones out of your top 20. So Bitcoin, that's your store of value. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Ethereum, that's your layer 1 blockchain. Oh, and understand which each crypto is from layer 1s, layer 2s, layer 3s. And which each technology you bring. But that's a conversation for another time. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, you have to have your Bitcoin in there. Some Ethereum, XRP for the long haul. HBOS rate Sui is definitely one. Mm-hmm. XLM, which is kind of like there's a long story behind that. So I guess you could kind of say like a partnership with XRP in an extent because
they both was partners in XRP.
Exactly. They split up, created, and they came back together. So there's a lot going on there. There's a new one that's going to deal with digital payment system. This is a BEC, and that's very good right now.
So BEC is huge, and there's a rumor that they're partnering with Ripple.
XRP. They just announced that at XRP Las Vegas.
Okay, good.
That just was announced that on either Saturday or yesterday.
Yeah, I thought I saw something in regards to that. That's going to be huge.
Huge.
And let me tell you,
for the paychecks.
And to be honest with you, I'm going to give y'all this. He just gave you the nugget, right? He mentioned ZBEC. I think ZBEC is a huge one because you can buy a lot with a little bit of money.
It's under a penny right now.
And listen, it's going to be worth way more than $1 because of what it does.
But it's just whether people are going to be patient and hope. That's the thing.
Right.
At one point, XRP was below a penny.
But it could shoot to, that Clarity Act it literally can shoot to $1 in a year.
Oh, no, that's true. Because you have institutions actually utilizing the system now, utilize the technology to pay people. And so that is true.
So listen, folks, if you buy it and it's way under a penny now, and you spend $100 on it, I don't know what that equates to, but that's a lot.
Yeah, it's at like 0.003, right? Like 3, what's that? 3/10 of a penny, something like that.
Let me just see here what it's going for, and I'll just do some math real quick. Mm-hmm. Because when it hits $1,
yeah, think about it. At one time, Bitcoin was under a penny.
Right.
Yeah, what was that, 2010 or 11 or something like that?
Yeah, when it first came out, 2009 or 10.
Yeah.
And then it reached last year $126,000.
I remember
so
that,
you have a whole bunch of Bitcoin back then.
So basically, you're telling me if a person just bought $100 worth of Bitcoin, they would end up a millionaire.
So ZBEC is 0.003 cents right now, right? For just one token. So you put 100 in here. Oops, wait a minute. So if you bought 100 of them, so 100 times 0.339, just do the math, right? Mm-hmm. and that's going to make you well over $100,000 when it hits $1.
Yeah.
It's going to hit $1. That's going to be the easiest thing for it because of what it does.
The technology behind it and what it represents. And so then you have the team. That's the other thing too, having a strong team of builders to make sure they keep the movement going. Because what a lot of people do is they'll get into something and not know what it does and not understand the team behind it. Because you can have builders with all the hope in the world, but where's the team's initiative? Is the team really going to build that? And they're like, oh, we're in our test phase, not in the main net yet. And then you buy ahead of time, and the team just fizzles out.
And what ZBEC does is ZBEC is like what if you're driving Uber or Lyft, you get a customer, you can actually cash out after that customer gets out of the car. That's what ZBEC does. Yeah. So it's already rumors saying that people will be able, you'll no longer have to work or wait 2 weeks to get a paycheck.
Get paid daily.
You can get paid daily, hourly.
Oh, that was the other thing I was talking about. It's like you go to work, the way they're breaking it down, you go to work with no money for lunch or nothing like that. By the time you hit lunch break, your money be in your wallet.
Right. The money's in your wallet.
The other thing that's very important for individuals.
Instant gratification.
Exactly. Understand the networks you're using and how to utilize the networks and how to, exchange and change and swap coins and things of that nature. One of the easiest ones that is easy to use out there, that's like I said before, Sui, they're taking it to a whole nother level. Like people try to compare it to Sui to overtaking Solana and stuff. But the one creator came out and said, that's not what we're going for. We're trying to go for the other more than 90% out there that don't even use crypto right now. Make it easy. We don't want to make it complicated. One tap switch, one tap flip. I mean, you know what I mean? Keep it moving. And so what they're doing is great work. That is one of, because Sui has the Slush wallet. That is one of the easiest interfaces that I played around with and used. Just to, try it on stuff like that. It's simple. Other ones, you have to know how, literally what you're doing, from how to bridge assets and everything else, convert assets and everything, and it does get complicated. But Sui utilizes all AI agents that do it for you, even when it comes to strategies. Just you put in strategies, you can sit your money in there and just let it do what it do. Make it anywhere from like 3.8% to upwards of 30%, depending on which protocol you use.
So listen, folks, you got a few nuggets right there. If you want to jump in the game and learn about it. But, I thought it would be too late for people to jump in around this time, and it's not. But it's not too late. It's not too late. Stuff is still cheap. You can buy stuff right now if you want to get into it and make millions of dollars.
Think about the world population. They said data shows that only around 3 to 4% of the world uses crypto right now interactually.
Very small amount.
3 to 4% of the whole world.
The whole world.
Now think about that. In the next 5, 10, 15 years, where the whole world has to jump on it, and you get in now ahead of the game, it's still early. You're not early like when Bitcoin was under a penny, under $1, but you're still early.
But if you just understand simple mathematics, like I said, ZBEC is 0.0039 cents, right? Way under a penny.
Yes.
So you can buy a lot of ZBEC with that. You can buy hundreds of thousands for short money, for money that you spend at the bar or the money you spend at the restaurant. You can get hundreds of thousands, and then it goes to $1. You got several $100,000.
Now, why is Bitcoin remain so strong? Because it was the number one coin that first hit the market.
Yes, the first. It's the dinosaur coins where everybody went to. It is the first actual decentralized coin. So what a lot of people don't know is certain protocols you get into, depending on what network you're on, they can actually freeze your assets. So let's say with Bitcoin, they can't decentralize. It's just something separate. You own your own piece to it and everything. And so let's say for perfect example, Tether. On the situation in Iran, they just froze. The United States pushed them to do it, and they just froze. I think it was $344 million worth of Iran's money received from
oil payment
in Tether. And so you have to be careful, because if the protocol allows people to do that and they freeze your assets, do you want to be in a protocol like that?
Okay.
And so that's what people have to be aware of too with that. So it's let's say a government agency comes up okay, we don't like this guy doing he's in violation of the freeze his assets. But hold on. With Bitcoin, they can't freeze your assets.
I got you. I was going to ask that question. If you owe the IRS or something, could they freeze your assets a little bit if you got crypto?
It depends.
Right now, they can't.
No, they can't. But
And that's one of the reasons
you know they're
why
gonna mess around, probably push something good at in the future, like down the line. As right now, it depends. Like, let's say if you're doing like stable coins, we have access to like Tether or something like that, or Tether has shown they can do that input, do that. Yes, but at that other protocol, let's say for like you said, Bitcoin, XRP, and things like that.
There was a company I was invested in, and Biden shut it down after about 8 months, man. I got 9 months of really good profits. And then he said, I'll tell you when we're off the mic. But any long story short, again, the Democrats, they're not for blockchain. They weren't for it because, just like with everything else, they want their hand in.
Not only that, the banks backed them heavy
the
too.
company was outside of the country, and there was no taxes, and there was no way for them to track it or anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it was a solid company, man. Solid company, man. I mean, guys was getting paid.
Yeah,
guys was getting paid, man.
Another one people snooze on. Right. The perpetual market changed the game. Hyperliquid. Have you been on Hyperliquid?
Nah.
That's a game changer. That's 24-hour trades of commodities, everything, crypto, like oil, gold, silver, 24/7. And so that's changing the game. Wall Street is seeing the actual effects of that and the benefits of that. And so that's why even more they pushing for, okay, we need to get this going. Because like even when things shut down on the weekend, and Trump do a lot of stuff on the weekend, like the war, stuff like that, happened on Fridays when the market's closed.
Yeah.
And then so when people are able to trade that on Hyperliquid like that, able to sell before the market comes down, then buy back in the lower, people are making a lot of money off of that. And by Hyperliquid Exchange is one of the places that people are utilizing for that, utilizing the Hyperliquid token. But that's a game changer for the perpetual market, trading things like that.
It's funny you guys talking about the transfer of wealth. So with this situation going on in Iran, you know how much money have been made with people betting when the U.S. is gonna attack them?
Oh, yeah.
At some point, there was billions of people betting, and let's be honest, they were getting inside information, like you just said. Stuff happens on the weekends when the market's closed.
Mm-hmm.
By the time the market opened on Monday, people have already bought into a futures market that things are going to happen, and it's inside trading. I mean, let's face it, inside trading goes on. I heard one financial guy says, out of 100% of inside trading, only like maybe 5% of the people actually get caught with inside trading. That's a big number.
You're right there.
You're right there.
And usually the ones that do get caught, they're too loud about it.
Yeah,
It's not like, where'd you get all this money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And many others, But yeah, man. Hey, want to thank you for coming in, man.
Thank you for having me.
I know if there's anything.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I appreciate it all.
Yeah, man. Any thing you want to add before we get out of here?
For those that like a little insight, I have my X page, formerly known as Twitter. You can follow me at J, just the letter J, AZIZ 24. Pretty much my page is just I funnel through a lot of individuals with credibility and stuff like that, and I just keep following those. And a lot of times I tag things on my page as a reminder to go back and see it and do further research on. Or you can reach me at Quantum Society LLC at gmail.com. Just spell it regular Quantum Society LLC at gmail.com. That's about it, man. All y'all take care. Have a blessed day, and hopefully I'll be back soon.
Oh, no doubt. Definitely want to have you back, man.
Thank you for your knowledge, man.
And I'll give you a buzz in a little bit. Before we get out, we're gonna get out of here in a second too, Rich. Actually, you can hang around if you want. It's up to you, man.
Okay. How long gonna be? I do have another meeting at like 12:10.
Probably about 5 minutes.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
I just want to talk about
Stephon Diggs.
So Stephon Diggs was in court, and let me just play a little bit about what happened with the chef that was on the stand just yesterday.
And it turned out, Ms. Adams, you had gotten paid for 2 of the 3 weeks that you said you hadn't gotten paid for, right?
This is missing a whole lot of stuff.
The yes or no question.
I can't answer your question correctly without proper evidence.
Your Honor, may I approach? Read it. Do you recognize this document as text exchanges between you and Sonny?
Yes.
Dated December 9, 2025?
Yes.
And you're the person in the bubbles on the left?
Yes.
And you write to Sonny, hey, so I looked over my transfers, payment history, and they sent payments, 11/7 and 11/21, totaling $4,000. See that?
Yes.
So you knew that you had actually been paid for 2 of those 3 weeks that you tried to get paid for again, right?
What's your name? I never got your name.
And you said something. I don't know where that feedback's come from, but you said something that was key, Rich, which was she was upset because Stephon moved Cardi B in the house, and she did say he moved the other woman in the house.
Well, this is my thing. You're a chef. You admitted on the stand yesterday that you guys had an intimate sexual relationship. Now he moves Cardi B in, has a baby by Cardi B, of course, and you're going to remain his chef, his living chef, and you and this guy had an intimate relationship. What does that say about you as a respectful, moral person? Why don't you just be respectful and says, you know what, I'm quitting, I'm moving out. Why stay there? So right now, your credibility is going out the window in this whole situation. Now, I don't condone if he did put his hands on her, but why would you stay in that situation?
And if he did, there's no video, there's no hospital report or anything like that. There's nothing that shows she has, you know what I mean?
And it took about a month or so before you came forward. Like I said, I don't condone it. I have females in my family, of course.
I think it was a money grab.
And you know what? You should have just quit as a chef once he moved Cardi B in.
Right.
Why would you want to stay in the house with him still as a chef in a situation like that? Did you really think the situation was going to get any better?
Right.
Okay. So that's where I blame her at for staying in this situation, because they could do nothing at that point but escalate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it looks good for Stephon. I think he'll get off on this.
Well, according to that little report there, Steve, that you ran, they're showing that she actually got paid for her services.
Yeah, she got paid. She was paid. She was looking, I guess when he sent her home, she was still looking to get paid for that week.
Yeah.
And that's the money she included in terms of him not paying her. But she didn't work. Yeah. She didn't work that week.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and she might have been looking for a settlement to just keep quiet. The Patriots were going to the playoffs.
I think it was a money grab.
It's Steph Diggs.
Someone got in the
what? One of the lawyers got in the air. Maybe we can get a nice little settlement to be quiet. Remember, they offered her what they call it, non-disclosure.
NDA.
Yeah, exactly. They offered her that. Yeah. And they probably didn't offer enough money. That's what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you remember what Cardi B said to her allegedly in the text? You don't have to do this.
Right.
Remember that?
I didn't hear that.
Oh yeah, that was news in the text messages. Cardi said to her, "You don't have to do this."
Right.
So they were trying to squash it, give her a few dollars, just go away. But we're not gonna let you just hijack us or just pay more than that this situation is worth. Blackmail, if you want to call it.
Right. Right.
But yeah, she don't have a lot of.
They had consensual sex.
Yes.
And she was upset when he sent her home.
And when
there was other woman in the house.
Cardi B moved in.
Right.
So why would you stay on his shit as his chef?
Right.
I mean, come on. Your whole credibility is just ruining this situation.
Right.
I don't condone if he did put his hands on her, but you know what? You should have left out of that situation. You know what it was.
Right. And again, there were no marks or anything. There's no medical reports or anything showing that she should have went to the doctor if that's the case.
At the end of the day, Steve, Mike Vrabel, Bob Kraft,
Oh my God.
Steph Diggs.
And let me say,
Like they said, it's the Patriots.
Let me say this too, right? This is what I'm going to say real quick. At the end of the day, this stuff happens every day.
Yeah.
In the NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, these are millionaire athletes, and they're around women all day, every day, different states, different cities, and this is nothing new. What Mike Vrabel did, you can go across every team in the NFL, and I promise you, every coach, every player, well, maybe not every, because some of these guys are married, but on every team, there's a situation.
Of course.
There's a situation. You know, Vrabel just got caught.
That's right.
He got caught.
Yeah.
You know?
But
and we'll leave it at that. I'm not saying it's okay to do that, but let's not be ignorant to the real factual situation about it.
Exactly. Owners,
you know,
like a lot of owners get in situations like that.
Oh,
right. Look at like you just mentioned, Kraft years ago.
Listen,
in Florida,
Larry Bird had a daughter out of wedlock that he never really had a relationship with. Okay, so we can go back further and further and deeper into this stuff. You know, Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, has an illegitimate daughter. This stuff, I mean, I have some friends, you know, where they talked about it. I'm like, you know what? For a couple of weeks, it's going to be in the news. It's going to go away. Let Mike Vrabel coach the Patriots, and hopefully we're contenders next year.
Only people making a big deal is the media.
Steph Diggs is going to have a job because
I don't care.
I mean, let's face it. I wouldn't mind bringing Steph Diggs back to the Patriots.
Right.
With AJ Brown and the other receiver, Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah.
I would love to bring him back. You know, we can get him at a cheaper price now. I mean, he caught 80 balls last year, 1,000 yards.
He said he's willing to come back.
Listen, this stuff don't bother me. Bring Steph back.
Yeah, it definitely don't bother me.
All right, Steve, man. Thanks for another day on.
All right, we out, folks. Thanks
Appreciate
for listening. Urban Heat, 98.1 FM, iHeartRadio. Yes.
Oh man, that was cool, man.
Yeah, thank you.